Hey everyone, welcome back to the JS tutorial series. In the last video, we set up the HTML and CSS of our to-do list app, and in this video, we will learn about how we can target different elements using the JavaScript and how we can actually listen to different events like click, submit, and without wasting any more time, let's get to the code. So last video we set up the HTML and CSS. Now in this video we will actually doing the DOM elements and we will be fetching the elements. We will doing a certain operations on them. So like starting with the code, here we have the CSS that we wrote in last video, but right now we are having it in style tag, but like it's not recommended actually because we are using right now internal CSS. But when you are working on a real life project, then you should preferably have it inside a different directory of asset styles, and you should be having external CSS, not the internal or the inline one. So now moving forward, let's just see the browser ones, and here we have the JavaScript to do, we have the add a task, but right now it's all is static. And first we will just add the script tag here, and we will be normally fetching different attributes. So moving first, I will need this form. So for the JavaScript I need to have this, so I'll create a variable with const. So there are about three types of variables. We can initialize a variable with three things. So one is the var variable, one is the let, and one is the const. We usually earlier var was used only, but in ES6 let and const were used, and now you should always use const or let and try to use var as less as possible, because like if you use var, and there are more chances to have errors in your code. That's why const and let are more used. And quick tip, when to use const and when to use let: always use let when you have a doubt that you will be changing that value again in any future in code, and const is for these value that are not going to change. So right now I am just keeping this form inside this variable which I'm using const. So I'll task form, and to grab that I will use document dot get element by, you can see we are having some suggestion by VS Code. So by ID we can add, and then we can specify the ID. So we added that ID here, that is the task form. Similarly we can use for the other fields too, for the button or for the body. For the body we will need to add one, because we are going to, as I said in the last video, that we are going to use that body to dynamically add the data. So this is going to be form, and this is task table body. Let's copy this ID and we can keep it directly here. So we have given reference to two of the things. So this is how we are just grabbing that element. So we have different options. We can even grab them by their class name, by their tag, and all those things. So we can have them. And now if I want to add, like right now it's static, but in case I want to add a task and I just want that, since this is a form, you can see question mark got added because it is getting submitted. So now what we will do, I will add the functionality that whenever I type something, that task should be added here instead of the static data. So I will add a listener. So on what I'll add a listener to this form. So I'll take this form and I will add a listener, add event listener, submit. Submit is one of the event listener, click is one of the event listener, and then change is one of the listener. So we are using submit. So, and this is the function that we want to run when this particular listener happen. So when we are clicking on submit, this also takes E. So E is basically the event that is happening, and E has very different values. So if I just console.log E, and this is a form, so I will also need to add e prevent default, because the general common behavior of a form is that it will get, a page will get submitted and it will go to that URL. So that's why we don't want that default behavior. That's why we add this e dot prevent default. Now I'll add something. We will open the console, and if I do this, you can see that this is mainly the E, the event. So event has different things, like event has is trusted, bubbles, it has different properties. So one of the properties is, you can see target. So target has the like the text area. And one thing that we will use later in the later videos is that e.target. So it has different things. You can see target, form, button, and it has like many values on submit. So this you can see from yourself if you want to explore on it more, but for now we will remove it. And you might also have observed that when we clicked it, it didn't refresh. That is why we were able to see the console. So now whenever the form is getting submitted, what we want to do, we want to change this in we want to add the item which we add the task in this table. So first we need to have a certain place where all the tasks will be there. So I will actually create an array. So an array, I will create all tasks array, and this will be an empty. And why did I use var for it? Because if I use any other variable, I will not be able to use it here inside this, so that will going to be a little difficult for me. So that's why right now I am using var. And now I can add the value. So first, this every task can have three things: the task name, its status, if it's completed, if it's pending or something else, and also the id. So in future we might want to edit the task, so something should be there that is unique in every task. So that's why I'll create a const new task, and this will be an object because we want to store different things, like three things which I told. The id, for id we can use date dot now because we want to have it like a unique one, so we can use this, so it will actually make it unique. And the name, that will be the value inside the input, so let's just ignore it for now. And also the status. So by default, when we are adding a task, the default status should be 0, that it is 0 and 1. So 0 is can be for pending, and 1 for completed. So now the name, so now the name would be anything that is the value inside the text area. So for text area, let's just create one more because we want to fetch the value. So task text area, and again we can just fetch it. We can give the text area some id task text area, and we can add it here. And now we can actually, okay, so first we also need to check if there is any value, because if there is no value, then there is no point adding that task. So what we can do is that we have this task text area, and let's just comment it for now, and we can just console.log this. And this is a text, this is mainly a string, so we can do certain operations on it, that is trim, length, and now if I do this, it's coming undefined. So maybe we have missed something. Let's just task text area, it's there. Okay, we need to maybe okay, the issue was that we need to, because right now we have just taken that element, and now this is just the text area. We need to take the value inside the text area, so we also need to do this value, and then inside this value we can do length. This will return the length of that value. So if suppose I write a, then it will give us 1, and if I do like multiple, then it will give the accordingly. So the value length, it will check for the length, and if it's less than 0, so if the text area dot value dot length is greater than 0, then only we want to perform this thing. Otherwise, else we can add some text, or we can do some alert. But instead, let's just do one thing. We can add in above this form, let's add one div with the name or with the id of error box, and to this we can give some styling. To this error box we can make the color red, and the font size 15 pixel. Okay, and now we also need to grab this error box. So again, error box, we can change the ID here. So we can create a function, an arrow function, show error, and we will make it an arrow function. So we will take the argument err, that is we'll take whenever we want to show an error, and then to this error box inner text, we will define add this text, and after a point of time we will remove it. So in set timeout we give two arguments. One is the function that we want to run, and other is like after how much time we want to add it. So inside it I will remove this, so I'll make this again blank. Let's run it. Okay, so it has come, and now after 2 seconds it will go. So I will add some other text instead of this. So I'll add please, or task can not be blank, along with a emoji. Okay, so we will show this error, and if it has something, then we will create this object, and the name of it, we will take the text area value. So let's just also make a task name. So const task name, and we can add this, and then task name we can add here. So if it has something, then it will be added to it, otherwise it will go to the else that it has nothing. Okay, so this is done, and we have this added, but now we will also need to add it on the array that we created. So all task array. So okay, we created this, so now we will do push. So what these are the array methods. We will also be learning more in the upcoming videos, but push is one of the methods. It will actually insert this object inside this array. So new task, we will add it, and in order to show it on the front end, we will create another function, const. Let's create it above this. So const show all tasks, which will render, which will show all the tasks. So what it will do, we will again make it an arrow function, and now inside it we have this all task array, but we will for each is also one of the JavaScript array methods, and what it will do for each of the elements, that is inside this array. So it will run it for each of that element, and for task t, and now we will add it. That's what we want to do basically. So for the testing, let's just do console.log t.name, and we also will run it once this is done. Okay, so let's add one as, add a task. Okay, so you can see it has run, and now hi, so it has run again as, and then hi. If I remove it, then also it has run again, because we also added this. And if I remove it and I add Rohan, okay, so again you can see as was once, then hi, and then Rohan. And if I do, so it is actually running it for each of this value, it is printing its name on the console. But what we need to do, we need to show it in the table body. So we will take this task table body, and inside its HTML we need to add it. So task table body dot inner HTML, and we will add what we want to add in inner HTML. These are the backticks that we are going to use because we want to use some JS inside this HTML. That's why I'm using it. And now I'll be copying this tr because for every task there will be a tr. I'll just paste it. It is normal string, but instead of this string, what I want to have is that here we will have, and this dollar and curly brackets, these are string template literals. We will have a closer look on them in the upcoming one of upcoming videos, but for now we just use this backticks along with string template literals when we want to put certain JavaScript inside the text. So inside it I'll write t.name, that is the value, and again for this one I will write if t status is 0. If it is 0, then what I want to show here is that there should be a button. Otherwise, I just want to show a text that it is completed, because right now we are just keeping two scenarios, either it is pending or it is completed. So if it is not completed, then here we will have a button. And the text of it will be mark complete. Okay, so now we need to, yes, we can see that test task is there as well as the button of mark complete and read a book. If I add one more task, it should also add it here. Okay, so you can see the first one got deleted and this got added, but we don't want to do that. We want to keep the first one along with the second one. So for each what it's doing is that it is actually just changing its value, so we don't want to do that. So this inner text, first we will just make just create a text, all tasks HTML. Okay, and this will be for now blank, because what currently is the scenario happening is that every time it runs, first it runs and then for one of the row, for first row it just change it, for the second time it runs again it changes, but we don't want, we want every row. So that's why we are not doing it directly to the, we will not now change this task table body, but but we will do it once this complete loop has been run. So here, and we will be adding this inner HTML. Now we will not do this inner HTML. Instead, first we added with the blank text, and now with every entry we will be running it and we will be keep on adding this TRs HTML to it. So, and at the end, once it is done, once all the rows are completed, then we will do this inner HTML and we will add this all task HTML. I hope it is clear, and if it's not, let me know in the comment. I will again make a video and I'll explain it in more briefly. Just okay, so let's just test it again. Task 1. Okay, so we did a mistake. It is not a function, rather we need to add it like this. Task 1 added. Now when we do task 2, okay, now it's working perfectly, that the second task is adding in the next row. Okay, so till now, and if I try to add a blank task, then what will happen? Task cannot be blank. We should add some margin bottom to this, 20 pixel maybe. Let's try again. Yeah, 10 pixel would be better. Yeah, that's fine now. So, and it will go. And to this also we can even remove when there is no task, but let's just not change it for now. Okay, so that's it for this video, and in the next video we will further go along and we will learn about event delegation. So still a lot to be done in this to-do list. It's not fully functional as of now, but we have learned a lot with this video and in the previous video, and in the next video we will learn even more. That is also one of the intermediate or advanced topic, that is the event delegation. So stay tuned for the next video, and thank you for watching this one. Thank you.